Hey, what's going on? Chaz here from Elevate Coaching. One question I get a ton about is sweet spot and threshold, and we've already covered sweet spot. So today what I want to break down is I want to cover a threshold workout. So let's dive on in. So threshold is probably one of the #1 driving metrics for overall best performance. Usually the better your threshold is, the better you're gonna do in a race or in an event or in a group ride, whatever it may be. Now, it is not the only driving metric when it comes to solid performance, but threshold is one of the main contributing metrics into the overall aspect of your riding, all right? So today, let's knock down, I got two different ones I wanna knock down. There's just kind of a regular threshold workout, and then there's one that I call like an extended fatigue threshold workout, which is actually really cool, and that's the one I'm doing today. But overall, we're gonna just kind of walk through how to do it, how you can actually progress them, and then I'm gonna throw in, towards the end of this video, the second one where you can kind of talk about more of the fatigue resistance side of it and how to really build that up, because that is actually really important when it comes to road racing, because when you get a couple hours in, you start to get fatigued, right? And everyone else around you is getting fatigued too. So if you can push your threshold repeatedly, after burning a certain amount of kJs, that's a huge advantage. So let's dive through that and let's head on the road and I will talk through it. So before we fully dive into threshold, I've been doing the sweet spot stuff, and the sweet spot has been great to get your body kind of acclimated for the threshold, because if we're honest, it can be a real shock to the system. So when it comes to the threshold, the way you're gonna build it is you're gonna build it a lot like the sweet spot. You wanna do the time in zone. So think about how much time were you spending in sweet spot, okay? And then when you go into threshold work, you can start at half that for threshold, and that's gonna be a good amount of work for you, and you're gonna be able to handle it. So an example would be, I worked up to 2 hours of sweet spot in one ride, right? So when I started threshold work, we started at an hour worth of threshold. Now the way we're breaking that up, you can slice it a couple different ways, where we're doing 3x20. You can do 4x15, or you can do 2x30. But in all reality, like 2x30 is probably a little overzealous, and 4x15 just sounds awful. So we went with 3x20. That's what my coach did. And you can do the same thing. So say you did build up to an hour of sweet spot, you're gonna wanna start with maybe 3x10. Okay, start in that range, and that's gonna give you a half hour worth of threshold work. Do a week or so of that, and then you can progress that from 3x10 to 2x15, to 3x15, and so on. And eventually you can kind of work that up. It's not the same as sweet spot, pretty close to the same amount of time that you're spending in sweet spot. Now, threshold zone, you're gonna wanna do this around 95% to 105%. So for me, 95% would be like 342. That 105% is gonna be about 378 or something like that. And that's gonna be based off of what your FTP is. And my FTP is, I think, around 360, so that is the zone. Now, you don't have to hit a specific number, but really you wanna spend time in that zone. So even though I have such a large zone to play with, I usually do around 350 on the first couple, then the last one, kind of push the limits, see what I do. Because you're gonna be fatigued as you work through them, right? Same thing with sweet spot, you wanna start a little bit lower. So threshold, start on the lower side of the zone, and as you progress through the work, you can up the power in that zone. Now, another question you may have about the threshold work is, how many times a week do I do it? So when we talked about sweet spot, you can actually load up on that and do that, 2 to 4 times a week, depending on where you're trained, or how well you're trained, I should say. with threshold, I would recommend twice a week. And I probably wouldn't do 3 times unless you're, you know, highly trained athlete. We're talking like, you know, big volume hours, things like that. But twice a week is gonna be solid. It's gonna be a little bit more taxing on the body than sweet spot. So you're gonna need that recovery a little bit more. But now I wanna jump into the second version of this workout, the extended fatigue version, which is what Nick and I are doing today. So today's workout, we're doing the extended FTP version. Basically what you're doing is trying to build fatigue resistance, right? As I said earlier, it's about being able to do it with lots of kgs under your belt. So we are going 2 hours, about 2 hours, so it's a 3.5 hour ride. We're gonna do about 1.5 hours to 2 hours of just zone 2, like steady zone 2, and then we're gonna knock them out. So, I mean, right now, I wanna say I got 1,300 kgs under my belt. So, being able to do this kind of, that cattle guard sucked. Trying to do this work after, you know, that 1,500 kg mark.
Wait, we still have to do this threshold?
I'm gonna leave before it hits me. Oh, what are you doing? You going home? You're going home?
Going home.
You could, oh man, dang it, see what happens? It's a great workout, but it sucks. So, give it a try. The way it works, you know, you're gonna go however long your ride is, you wanna try to do at least half your ride. So say you're doing a 2.5 hour ride, you wanna do about 1.5 hours worth of riding first at zone 2, and then do your threshold work in the last hour. For us, like I said, we're doing a 3.5 hour ride. So our threshold work, including rest period, is about 1.5 hours worth of like total workout time. So we're gonna do it around the 2 hour mark, finish, and then use the last 15 minutes to cool down and get home. I just finished my last threshold effort. About, I don't know, 2,800 kilojoules in, did run 350, 3.5 hours in, just finished my last one. Anyways, that is your threshold workout. Those are the 2 options. Do the traditional one, or you can do the extended fatigue one, build resistance. And it hurts like no other. I feel like a dying giraffe. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Keep riding and training really hard. I'll see you guys on the next video. Okay.